My name is Veena Basu. I'm the Regional Director of Skyborne Aviation based in Gurgaon. It is really such a great pleasure to welcome all of you to this informative seminar on the IndiGo Cadet Pilot Program. During the seminar, you will actually hear from the experts in aviation. They'll share their useful insights on the various aspects of the IndiGo Cadet Pilot Program. So with that, let me introduce you to the panelists. Starting, we have Captain Lee Woodward, who is the CEO of Skyborne Aviation Group, followed by Captain Rajiv Bhalla from IndiGo. He happens to be the fleet captain, recruitment and inductions. Next to Captain Rajiv is Rinchen Dolma. She takes care of the IndiGo Cadet Program and works very closely with me and keeps me on my toes. Next to her is the gentleman in red is Monis Jamal, who works very closely with Rinchen and Captain Bhalla. And then we have two young captains and first officers, Captain Dhruv Hun and First Officer Megha Sridhar. Well, as far as the order of the day is concerned, you will hear from Captain Lee, followed by a few words and a presentation from Captain Rajiv. And follow your questions because we have a lot of time that we have dedicated. I'm sure you have a lot of questions, so we have dedicated a lot of time to answer your questions. And I hope you will find this seminar informative, engaging, and rewarding. That's definitely our earnest wish. So without further ado, let me ask Captain Lee Woodward to please come here and share his insights. Thank you.
Thanks, Veena. Thank you. Can everybody hear me okay through this little microphone? Yeah, good. Okay, well, the first thing I'd like to say is thank you. I know some of you have travelled huge distances to be here, and all of us greatly appreciate it. Myself, Veena, the rest of the team in Skyborne, and of course our friends and colleagues at IndiGo. I know what kind of investment you put in to come into an event like this, so thank you very much. Before we start, can I just have a show of hands? Who wants to be a pilot? That's always a nervy moment when only one hand goes up, but that's fantastic. So what we're going to do over the next hour and a half or so, I'm going to make a presentation on Skyborne and about our involvement in the program and highlight some of the key features. Then I'll be handing over to Captain Rajiv, who's then going to make a more detailed presentation on IndiGo, and then as Veena says, we'll do a Q&A session. Okay. Can we do the lights on the screen, please, guys? Thank you. So that's what I'm going to cover in my presentation. A little bit about our company. We're going to talk about training locations, and then a little bit more detail on the program. Then something I've referred to recently in the media as beyond flight training. In other words, some of the other key features that are over and above just technically learning how to be a competent airline pilot, and some of the items that we as a company invest in that we believe is really, really critical to get you ready for airline operations. So they're really the four core areas that I'm going to cover. I don't expect you to read all of the text on here, but what that is effectively saying is our company's mantra is about delivering excellence. My personal background is I started somewhere like you are right now, 30 odd years ago. I went to a seminar that was at that time held by British Airways. I knew I wanted to be a pilot. I applied. I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship. I went to flight school with no flying experience, prior flying experience at all. Went to flight school, started life flying Boeing 757, 767 and 747-400s. And I was with British Airways for 14 years. It was in BA that I became a trainer and an examiner, and I still am today. I then left British Airways and went to join a company called CTC Aviation. We became the biggest independent training company in the world, and we sold that to L3 in 2015. And in CTC, we had a saying that said, committed to excellence, but when I formed Skyborne in 2017, I felt being committed to excellence wasn't strong enough. Delivering excellence is what it's all about. Do we get it right all the time? No, we don't. Do we strive to get it right all the time? Yes, we do, 100%. So any feedback we get from trainees, any feedback we get from our airline customers, and if we need to make improvements, we make improvements. And so our mantra is about delivering excellence and actually developing our trainees so they are airline ready by the time they go to the airline. And that means they've got to be technically competent, their knowledge has got to be high, but also their professionalism, their non-technical skills have got to be very, very well developed. I'm going to show you how we achieve that now. That really says the same thing, our values. You know, we go on and on about trust in Skyborne. We want to be trusted. We want to be trusted by the trainees, by the students. We want to be trusted by our airline customers. We also want to be trusted by the sponsors, the parents, or whoever may be helping the trainee fund their training. So the idea is about trust, and we will never shy away from any difficult situations at all. Always available to speak with students and speak with their sponsors. And actually, you know, we've got a graduation here tomorrow. There are 77 people eligible to graduate, and that's happening tomorrow. And part of the theme of what we're going to be saying is just how challenging that particular cohort, how it was for them because of COVID. And there were times when we had 100+ students in our flight school in America, and parents and sponsors here in India were very worried about their sons and daughters, etc. And we were able to get them to trust us, to say, your children are in safe hands, we've got all the right practices in place, and we want them to continue their training so that we reach the point of where they are tomorrow. And that trust is something that you don't just buy, you earn people's trust, and we're very, very big on that. Very simply, our group structure, so we are a group and we have companies in the UK and in the United States, and that's really all that simple organogram says. Now, there are three of us that own the business, myself, Ian Cooper and Tom Lisner. I've already explained my background is aviation, and I'm still a current examiner and instructor on the 757 and the 767. Ian is my COO. He is also co-founder of the business. He is an Airbus training captain as well. So we are full-time committed to Skyborne, but we also keep our flying qualifications going. And Tom Lisner is our chairman, is not a pilot, although he does have a commercial helicopter pilot. He's from the world of music and education. So he was a record producer in his day, and he built and grew the biggest music college in the world. 60,000 students enrolled across 15 different countries. So he's very, very passionate about education, and it dovetails nicely into what we do in Skyborne, which is effectively education. You're not meant to be able to read that. These next two slides are really just to give you an idea of the scale of our business. In 5 years, we've grown from literally just Ian and I on one airplane to a huge organisation now with 130+ staff and 60 aeroplanes, 4 simulators, and goodness knows what. So that's our UK organogram. All those people are real, and they're all post holders of the business who contribute every day to getting it right. And that's the US one. So the UK one and the US organograms. It's a big organisation now. But we're very personal. We're not a corporate company, and nor will we be. No matter how big we get, we are very, very hands-on. I was just saying to Captain Rajiv this morning, nothing gives me more pleasure than to be at Vero Beach and be mixing with our IndiGo students. It's just so fantastic to see the professionalism, and the dedication and the commitment, but also how happy they are in the main and how committed they are in their training. And I love that. I love being involved at the grassroots level. I go flying in the light aeroplanes with the guys. Every time I go to Vero Beach, I try and go flying. I love it. I'm just a complete aviation nut at heart. Alright, so a little bit about our locations then. So the UK is actually home to our head office. It's our Group HQ. We have a 36,000 square foot purpose-built building. We built it from zero, from brand new. We built the building, and the entire building was designed with pilot training in mind. So this is where we complete our UK CAA training. Our IndiGo students don't go through the UK, they do an entire journey through the United States, which I'll show you in a moment. But I still think it's valuable to see just what we have in the whole corporation. So this is home to our multi-engine DA42 fleet. We have a 737 MAX simulator in there as well. And also our UPRT, our aerobatic training, is completed at this facility. That's the DA42, top left, and that's our really funky Slingsby T67 Firefly, which we do the upset prevention and recovery training in. Bottom right is our 737 MAX. It's an amazing machine, and it's the perfect machine to bridge the cadets before they go to the airlines. Do a 40-hour bridging course on that. However, America is what's relevant to our program with IndiGo, because we deliver all of the ab initio training in our Vero Beach facility over a 12-month period prior to returning back to India for the flight license conversion. So Vero Beach then, it's a true campus. There are only 5 establishments in the whole of the United States that have the qualifications that we have here. It's a campus. We have self-examining, so we don't rely on the FAA to do our flight tests. We have our own accreditation. We do our own in-house FAA grad school exams as well. There's no need for anybody to go outside of the campus. We have an accreditation to do it all in-house. 314 bedrooms, 6 classrooms, that's about to become 12. We're doubling the number of classrooms, simulators, and a fleet of 52 aeroplanes as it currently stands. And that's expanding. Over the next 3 months, we're going to add another 10 aeroplanes to the fleet as we go north of 60. Eventually, we'll end up with about 100 aircraft in Vero Beach. So as I say, it's one of only 5 true campuses in North America that delivers solely pilot training. Previously it was owned by Flight Safety. You may or may not have heard of Flight Safety, and we acquired that business from Warren Buffett's organisation in 2021. Now it's fully fledged Skyborne. And these are real pictures. In fact, these pictures are taken by the students often. So at the bottom right, for example, there was a student in the back seat with that training detail. If you look very, very close to that picture, there's about a 60-degree bank steep turn going on there, which is quite alarming. That's Vero Beach. That is actually Vero Beach that you can see in the middle. This is our fleet on the apron. One of our instructors, trainee instructors, and again, a picture of the fleet on the apron. That's the main training building, and again another aerial shot which really captures the size of the operation. It is really very, very significant, and I don't want to embarrass him, but I'm really, really delighted and honoured to say that Captain Rajiv will be with us next month in Vero Beach. I'm so looking forward to it coming out. But it's not all about work. Yeah, downtime is really, really important. So we have just fantastic facilities on campus: beach volleyball, swimming pool, basketball, football, or as the Americans call it, soccer, but it's football. And in all seriousness, enjoying yourselves is super, super important. So we run excursions up to Nassau. We can take the students to Cape Canaveral. Now you just go on our YouTube site or our social media and see all of the things that the students do. So we've got a very real work hard, play hardish mentality. Of course, it is all about training at the end of the day, but why not? Why not enjoy it? You're here for 1 year. It's an amazing opportunity to experience Florida and beyond, actually. And we encourage it. We go more than encouraging, we assist it, we help it. So, moving on to the cadet program itself in a little bit more detail. We put this out on social media recently. A little bit challenging, a little bit cheeky. Have you got what it takes to be an IndiGo pilot? So IndiGo is by far and away the most successful airline in India. I'm not going to steal Captain Raji's presentation, but significant market share. And having worked with the airline for 10 years, my previous life in CTC, L3 for a little while, now Skyborne, I just know exactly the standard that they're shooting for. If you've ever flown on their aircraft as a passenger, it's obvious the standard is amazing. The cabin crew are so well trained, and the culture in the airline is, I would say to some extent, uncompromising. They want the best. So that advert is real. Have you really got what it takes to be an IndiGo pilot? Are you up for the challenge? And I think it's really important. So how do we do it? Well, we take youngsters like this and we make them into airline pilots. And these guys are awesome. I know them all from Vero Beach. I've had time with them, and I find it such a privilege to see a course arrive on day one, completely green, uncertain of their future, slightly nervous, wondering what the future is going to hold in store, and then they end up like that. And it's fantastic. And I've been there. When I was at flight school on day one and British Airways came with the presentation, I thought, how on earth am I going to be able to do this? But you do. And the system, if you work with it, it generates high quality pilots. So how do you do it? What's the process? Well, you go onto our website, you'll find on our website the IndiGo dedicated pages, and you apply online. And it's a simple process, web-based application, where we're just looking for certain criteria. And if you meet that criteria, you will then be sent a link to complete a set of tests. So this is currently how we have been doing it. It may change and amend slightly as we go forward, but in the main, it would look like this. And you would complete some aptitude tests and some psychometric tests. The aptitude tests are really looking at your inherent skills. Yep, so we're looking at your cognitive ability, decision-making capacity, speed of thought, being able to multitask, etc. Numeracy, really important. And then in addition to that, a psychometric test is just trying to establish that your preferred style is the right fit to be an airline pilot. Yeah, it's not a perfect science, but it gives us a good indication that your preferred behaviors are suitable and conducive to flying a commercial airliner. There's an interview. Sometimes our interviews, just generally with other airlines, will be done by Skyborne. In the case of IndiGo, there's an additional set of tests and interviews that go on with the airline. And that's it. You're through the system, at which point you'll be offered a training agreement and scheduled onto the training course. What are we looking for in selection? I like to share these little secrets. If you think it through, if you've ever been a passenger on an airliner, what would you hope that the pilots at the front, what qualities would you hope that they have? So none of this should be a surprise. Highly motivated people. We need highly motivated people. So when I ask the question of a student, why do you want to do this? They don't say, well, Dad wants me to do it, or my mom wants me to do it, I don't really want to do it. I want to hear, I want to do this. You don't have to have wanted to do it all your life, but you have to want to do it now, at the time that you are going to do it. Having an attitude towards high standards is critical. Second best just doesn't cut it, does it? You're on an Airbus, you've got 160 passengers, whatever it is, and crew, second best isn't good enough. Yeah, you wouldn't want that from your surgeon if you were going into an operating theatre for an operation, so why would you expect it from a as an airline pilot. High standards, critical. Being able to cope with a sense of responsibility. When you get in the right-hand seat of that jet, eventually, you're second in command. Yeah? People behind you, the crew, may have been in the airline for years, but you are second in command behind the captain. And literally, if something goes wrong with the captain, you need to be able to deal with it. Yeah? And that's important. Team skills, integrity, resilience. Nobody gets through their flight training without a setback. Nobody. I don't know anybody, myself included, who has not had a setback. But it's how you come back from that setback and how you deal with it. That's really very, very important. So resilience is key. Communication and business awareness. You know, all our pilots these days, they need to understand the business, the company that they're working for, the culture of the company, also potentially sometimes the financial implications of decisions they're going to make. And I'll go into that in a little bit more detail. So these are the tenets of how we train. So in Skyborne we have a very particular training philosophy. I've already mentioned I'm an ex-airline pilot, still a current airline examiner and trainer. So too is my colleague here. We understand it. We know what good looks like and we know what excellent looks like. We try to cascade into our flight school custom and practice that you will see in an airline, for real. Just because it's in a little PA-28 Warrior or a Seminole doesn't mean you can't operate it in a similar vein or similar philosophy to that of an airliner. And we really do. So as Captain Rajiv will see when he comes to Vero Beach, we have things like flight crew training manuals, quick reference handbooks, the type of things you'd find in an airliner. We have a mini version of those things in our aeroplanes. But it's more than that. It's the manner in which we operate the aeroplanes is really important. The aircraft flying stable on final approach, just like you would in an airliner. We do that on our little aeroplanes. We take a very significant view on risk management. Every single time the trainee goes flying, they have to complete an analysis of the risk factors they're facing that day. And that covers how they're feeling, how familiar they are with the environment, how familiar they are with the maneuver they're going to do, etc., etc. That produces a traffic light system and determines whether it's right to go flying or not. Very few organisations will do that at the ab initio level. We also include things like customer service training, more of that to come in a moment. So about the syllabus then, this is currently, right now, our syllabus. It could change, but this is what is approved at the moment. And you'll see it's quite significant. 124 hours of dual, single engine, pistol flying, with 92 hours of solo. Now some of you are up to speed with the rules and regs, might go, isn't it 100? I'll come to that in a moment. 31 hours of simulator training, again dual. And then we have 25 hours total in the multi-engine piston airplanes. So quite a significant training program. And then that's followed by the flight license conversion back here in India. Our preferred partner is Bombay Flying Club in Dooley, and that's where we're currently using. And again, we have aspirations to expand that operation. With Skyborne's direct involvement. And finally, the A320 type rating. Currently, we do that with Etihad in Abu Dhabi, but in a year or so's time, that may change. Something I just wanted to highlight is in Skyborne, you will get a dual license. You will be FAA qualified, commercial pilots license, and DGCA also. And I just thought I'd share some photographs of real cadets that either I've taken or they've taken, and I think it just tries to capture the essence of what we do. This is somebody who recently completed their CPL, and every time they complete a CPL, we have a photograph done with the instructor. When they complete their first solo, the private they get a dunking ball, so the force throws with the swimming ball. So I didn't show that picture, but if you go on our social media, you'll see that. Yeah, another great shot, somebody clearly having a good time. And then really, again, I try to capture a day in the life of Skyborne. So I hope I've given you so far a picture of a company that is absolutely committed to delivering excellence, has a very clear philosophy of how we try to deliver airline standard training, albeit in a light aircraft environment, and how we develop the skill sets of our students. But in addition to developing their skills and their knowledge, we develop their professionalism and we ensure that they have a good time while they're with us. That's the kind of environment I'd like you to consider when you think about Skyborne. A very short video. We got a videographer into Skyborne, and my brief to the videographer was, I want you to try and capture a day in the life, fly on the wall, through the keyhole, whatever the expression is, of what a typical day in Skyborne is like. And he said, well, haven't you given me a better creative brief than that? I said, no, I'm deliberately not doing that. So the guys came, they stayed with us for 2 days, and on day 3 they shot the video. And I think they did a good job. You may have seen this already on social media or on our website, so forgive me if I play it again, but I actually quite like it. So here we go. There. 1 minute, and yeah, I love it. It makes me want to do it again, and it's very accurate, I would suggest. And so finally, a couple of slides. What did I mean about beyond flight training? Well, I've covered some of the items already, but these are very, very important. Mental health support. So we are the only flight school, I believe, I don't know any other flight school that is involved with this organisation called Red Umbrella. Red Umbrella is an organisation that generally deals with large corporates to bring in mental health support for staff and, well, in our case, students. So we subscribed to this around 3 years ago, and we developed it, and we now honed it in to be something that is really very, very good. So what this does, it means that staff in both the UK and the US have been through first aid, mental health first aid training, 3-day course, pretty grueling. Whenever I've spoken to the people who went through it, we have 12 staff, 6 in the UK, 6 in America, and they were saying it's an extremely intense 3-day course. They became qualified as mental health first aiders. So that means if a student is struggling with mental health issues, it could just be they just want someone to talk to, or they're getting homesick, the first port of call is to one of the mental health first aiders. If they can't resolve it, then they can go online and they can speak to a mentor. So there is a portal that all of our students can use, and they can choose one of any number of mentors and chat to them about their problems. So that's if they want to take it outside of Skyborne. And that mentor then has the authorization, if they really feel they need to engage a clinical psychologist for proper clinical care, and we fund that. So we fund 2 sessions with a clinical psychologist. It's completely discreet. We have no idea when it's happened other than the fact we get the bill. We don't know who it was for. But if a pilot can't be returned back to training, that's at that point then the pilot's encouraged to come forward and we look for further treatment. But this is really, really important, and particularly if you think about youngsters going away from home for the first time, we seem to operate in this bravado environment, being airline pilots, and over many, many years of my career, there's been this assumption that pilots don't suffer from mental health issues. They do. They're just normal people. Everybody has issues at some point. And so we felt it was imperative to put this support mechanism in place, and it's working very, very well. Slightly lighter note, we put all of our trainees through 2 days of formal customer service training. That means an outside agency comes into Skyborne and they deliver a 2-day course on customer service training. Covers everything from how important it is to wear your uniform correctly, how you're representing yourself, your airline, your profession when you go into work every day with your uniform. We cover social media, and we cover the role the pilot has in the customer service journey for passengers. Some people are surprised to think that the pilot has a role, and they do. Yeah. So we're really keen on this, and I think it dovetails nicely with the airline's philosophy. Whenever I've flown as a passenger on the airline, as I say, I think they're immaculate. I think the pilots are immaculate, the cabin crew are immaculate, the operation is top notch. So I think delivering this training, and every trainee in Skyborne gets this training, not just IndiGo, whether it's Delta Airlines, American, British Airways, EasyJet, doesn't matter. Everybody goes through 2 days of full customer service training. So really important. That really is it from me. I hope I've given you an overview about what we do. I'm going to hand over to Captain Rajiv now, and then we'll do the questions and answers afterwards. Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, let's do it the Indigo way. Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and future cadets. Welcome aboard the Skyborne IndiGo Gateway to your airline pilot career. I, like Lee, will also give you an overview of many things here. At the end of the PPT, you can go ahead and answer your questions. So a bit of introduction. I've been with this airline as launch crew. I did my CPL in 1999 and I started looking for a job in 2000. And before 1999 I was right there, seated like you were. And back then I was really struggling to figure out how to do my commercial pilot's license. And I still remember there was this, I was looking for guidance because there's nobody in my family from the airline. So there was this ad in the Flight International magazine. East Midlands had some sort of a cadet program, some sort of, what I remember, and Singapore Airlines. Unfortunately, both of them only take nationals. So I struggled with it. I completed my commercial pilot license from Texas, Newton, USA, and 3 years of struggle to get a job. Finally, in 2003 with Air Sahara, and then I heard of this airline that's placed an order for 100 aircrafts, and I thought it's time to move to an Airbus aircraft. That's what my gut told me, and I joined IndiGo's launch crew, and there was no looking back. And come 2017, I joined the leadership team. 2019, we saw joining our hands with Skyborne as one of our premium cadet programs. And here we are in 2023 with them. Let me give you a little overview. I won't be able to give you a full day in the life of pilot how it is, but how about a bit of an overview? Somewhere as, let's say, a satellite terminal to do a morning flight. So they report to the dispatch 1 hour prior and how they proceed until they get airborne. So it's quite interesting. That's the destination you're looking for once you complete your career program and you join us. So here it is. So there you go. That's your destination if you pick this career with us. And, so I broadly categorize airline pilots who decide to take this profession in two very broad categories. There are some who know from very early on that they're going to be pilots. It's a calling for them, they want to recognize that this is it, this is what I'm going to do. And to some, it's an introduction. The minute they're introduced to it, they know this is for them, it's their blood. My father's from Merchant Navy, and I was all set to join Neptune Orient Lines, interview and everything done. So I'm going over this career book which talks about Merchant Navy. I flipped the page, and the next page is how to become an airline pilot, and that was it for me. And I decided this is what I'm going to do. So, like he spoke about motivation, it's very simple. It's what it takes to be a pilot. It's sheer grit, motivation, and determination. It's a highly skilled, very unique profession. It requires foundation of very unique skills, ability, for which we test you. Again, there's nothing to worry about. I'm not looking for super strength. It's just again the foundation of certain abilities and certain skill sets that we are looking for when we put you through our selection programs. So we have 7 cadet programs today to choose from, and Skyborne, like I said, is our premier program from the USA. Let me show you now the time-bound structured program. Like I said, I went through myself a conventional program, and it was a bit of a struggle to gather everything on my own. And here is a program that is vetted by the airline and has very high standards. It's structured in simple terms from that seat where you're sitting to an airline pilot's right seat as a junior first officer. You have to do nothing. It's a structured program. You have to just do your training and be in it. That's pretty much it. Let me go through some of the timelines for you. So, selection process, like we explained, would start from aptitude and psychometric testing. Test you for hand-eye coordination, multitasking, very basic skills, some cognitive skills, some mathematical, logical reasoning. Very basic. Once you clear this round, and once you proceed to task assessment, interview with us, and then you sign an LOI with us. It's basically letter of intent. So once you finish your selection process, IndiGo gives you a letter. The letter says, upon successful completion of the course with Skyborne, IndiGo will give you a berth as a junior first officer and inductee as a pilot. That's what LOI stands for, letter of intent. So from selection process to letter of intent, it is usually about 6 to 10 weeks. After the LOI is signed, you proceed for your ground classes. Most of you will know about these. It takes about 3 months to cover your ground subjects. You clear them and you're ready to proceed to the US, Vero Beach for your flight training. Flight training usually takes about 12 months. Normally in this program, you probably do it in 11 and 1 month for Vero fun. You come back to India for your flight license conversion. We have program managers in the US, we have in India. It's a very structured program. You have all the guidance, just have to follow the steps. So flight license conversion usually takes about 4 months, where you convert your American FAA license to the Indian UCA license. Once that is done, we send you for type rating. So the airline that you are hired for is IndiGo. IndiGo flies an Airbus A320, so you go for an Airbus A320 type rating program, which is approximately 2 months. They train you to fly on an Airbus A320 aircraft as a first officer. That takes about 2 months. Once that is completed, you come back to India. On the license that you have converted as commercial pilot license, Indian license, you will get a stamp that says now you are certified to fly an Airbus A320 as a first officer. And you join IndiGo, day of inductions. You sign a pilot agreement with us, and it's the start of your career from there on. You're junior first officer with us. So that's the program. It usually takes from selection process to joining IndiGo approximately 24 months to complete this whole process. Our very basic flying qualifying requirements. Age is simple, nothing there. Education qualification, you do need physics, maths and English, individually 51% in each from a recognized board or university, primarily. And then you have to pass first year class 2 medical. That's the basic medical requirement. Once you pass the class 2 medical, you pass the class 1 medical. Only after you pass the class 1 medical do you proceed for flight training and further in your career. I don't know if most of you know, but class 1 medicals are mostly undertaken by AFCME, Air Force Medical Centers. They check you primarily for your ENT, there's ECG, there's full body check, and again, nothing superhuman, just normal tests. You just have to be normal. And an eyesight that can be corrected 6x6. I'm wearing glasses, the first officer will wear, Megna is wearing glasses. As long as you wear your glasses and you can see 6x6, it's not an issue. Okay, so a bit more in detail again, legal, but nevertheless. So your selection process, once you register with Skyborne, they do your pre-screening and an interview. You start with aptitude and psychometric testing. I already covered that. It entails your mathematical, logical, cognitive, hand-eye mind coordination. It's a test of about 2.5 hours. You complete that test, you proceed to group task assessment, where we will oversee your skill in communication and teammanship. How you function in a team. That's one essential requirement to be an airline pilot. Clear that round, you go to personal interview with IndiGo. You'll meet the analysts from the HR and from flight operations. It's a one-on-one interview. We get to know you, we get to know us. Fairly simple. We somewhat validate what it says on your resume. We get to know you better, and then finally you sign up with us for a letter of intent. Again, just to repeat, it says on successful completion of training, you join us as a junior first officer. And if in case you are not able to clear any of the rounds, then there's a cooling period of 1 before you will be scheduled for another round selections. If you don't clear the aptitude test, cooling period is 1 year. If you don't clear the GTO, it's 1 year. If you don't clear the interview, you have to restart from GTO and the cooling period will be 1. Okay, I would say this is the most interesting slide, but this is the most popular slide we have with us. It's your career progression. You join us as a JFO, but literally sky's the limit with us. Since IndiGo is growing means we give you ample and very many opportunities to join us and to grow with us. So once you are a CPL cadet, you do your type rating and you become a CPL type rated cadet. You sign the pilot agreement with us. You are a junior first officer. Just as soon as you sign the pilot agreement with us, you will be starting at a gross salary of 63,000. We have an interim period of 8.5 months in which we train you and we familiarize you with our different departments: scheduling, flight operations, commercial, loading, engineering. We really give you a hands-on overview of the airline, during which time you will be on a gross salary of 63,000 per month. And as soon as that period is over, you will be at a gross of 1.05. It takes about 8 months for you to become a first officer from there on, and the salary at that point will be 2.4 lakhs a month, and 24 months to be a senior first officer, and there you are at 4 lakhs, 4.1, and then 26 months to be a captain. As of today, the latest figure for an IndiGo captain salary is 6.92 lakhs per month. This plus very many pilot-friendly and welfare HR policies that IndiGo has to offer. Some of them which I will share with you shortly. So, apart from being a captain with us, we offer you roles in management, we call leadership, in flight safety, in line operations that looks after the welfare of our pilots, in standards and quality operations that look at flight parameters. Very much like myself, I'm in the corporate team that handles policies, cadet programs, and recruitments. Really, the sky's the limit there. If you want to pick up a career, branch out, or you want to become a trainer, that's possible too. We have amazing HR policies like the Benevolent Fund, that in case at any point in your career you're down in your health, you're not able to clear your class 1 medical, then you're backed up with the Benevolent scheme of PMU that gives you, for an X period of time, you don't lose your salary while you're recuperating from sickness or long-term issue that you may have, which is stopping you from clearing your medical license. Of course, you can take your 5 of your family members. We have a staff leisure travel policy, and your family can fly with us, subject to your tickets, unlimited tickets, to all our pilots. They can pick 5 family members, and that's one of our most popular HR policies. So that's pretty much it. We are also synonymous with on-time, affordable fares, courteous and hassle-free. We are an airline of 305 aircrafts, and needless to say, we have a pending order of 500 aircrafts. So like I said, we are growing, and with our growth, we give you the opportunity to grow with us. And nothing better than to join a structured program like the Skyborne IndiGo Cadet program, and you're on your way to become an airline pilot with us. So that's pretty much it. That's the end of the slide. I think we can go ahead with the Q&As.
Thank you so much, Captain Rajiv. Thank you so much, Captain Lee. I hope you found this extremely informative. It was a great, broad overview of the whole program from the start to the end. So at this point in time, I would like to open up the house for questions. I'm sure lots of you have lots of questions. And so yeah, with a show of hands, can we start with that? And we have our panelists here. We'd be happy to answer them.
I have a couple of questions.
Sure. Now, do you want to stand up and give us a little bit of an introduction?
Sure. I'm Vero Beach and I'm here for my son, who wants to be a pilot. And my first question is that when this plan, this course or selection process would start?
So we are planning to start the selections approximately as soon as May.
So we'll start with me.
We start the selection process approximately next month.
Oh, thank you. My second question is, you talked about the ground classes. I'm assuming this is for the DGCA papers. So the kids who are already cleared, like Parth, he has already cleared the DGCA papers. So for them, how did it start?
So we have somewhere in the region of 300 plus already in registration in our scheme right now, and a lot of those are already cleared. So absolutely, we welcome that. And of course, those individuals will go through selection and can commence flight training straight away. So the idea is they would come into the system immediately.
Oh, thanks. Also, on the pricing structure, I went on the site, and the pricing structure covers the ground classes as well as the flight training and all. So, if we already covered the ground classes, would there be any reduction in the total price?
So the price shown on our website doesn't include the ground training. It assumes somebody coming in with that already. Skyborne can offer a course, or an individual can go to any school of their choice, but we have produced what we believe is quite an advanced program called Skyworks, which is an India DGCA approved CPL ground school course, and that can be purchased separately. I think the price is $3,000 plus VAT, but we are looking. Already we're looking to work with several other ground school providers in India for them to provide that training, that platform independently. So I'll watch this space over the next few weeks, and I'm confident we'll be rolling something out with 1 or 2 local providers in India.
My last question is that I can others. What would be the visa support provided? Would it be provided by the site Skyborne, or would IndiGo help us? How would it go?
Skyborne. So we have a dedicated team in the US who focus entirely on the visa and entry criteria into the US. So one thing to point out, the pricing on our program is complete. It includes everything: the training, the testing, accommodation, uniform, transport. There's nothing further to find, and all the visa provisioning as well is covered in that. The cost of the visa, I think itself, is not paid for by the individual, but all of the work that goes into it by the staff is provided by Sky.
Thank you.
I just wanted to dovetail on what Captain Lee said. We've been monitoring the space very closely because of the visa processing times that all of us know for the US right now, which is skyrocketed through COVID. They are actually pretty down. I mean, now we can get appointments within less than 30 days in some places. So that's good news. Yeah. And also the ground classes that Captain Lee talked about, it's called Skyworks, SK1. WORX, and we have all the information on our website if you want to look at it. Great, thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Abu. So basically my question is, what will happen if so will you consider us in the same stage or will you consider like super fresh candidate?
Is that a question for me or for Rajiv?
Have you sent us an email in this regard?
Yeah, yes, sir.
So we will speak to our HR team and consider you.
Because I have also cleared all the exam ground classes, so right now I'm necessary to be able to bring you.
And you're registered with Skyborne?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll discuss this with my HR team and we'll get back to you.
Sure. Thank you.
Good morning to all our presenters. My name is Gautam. I'm also an aspiring pilot for the Skyborne. First of all, I would like to ask a question that can we expect any change in the pricing what Skyborne has listed on its website because of the fuel price going up and down that is very volatile as we all know. So can we expect any changes in that?
No, the price as it is now published is something we would commit to, and even during the course of COVID, we had a graduation here tomorrow, as I mentioned, and a number of those students had to stay on for months and months of extra time, and we provided refresher training, all of that at Skyborne's cost. So whatever happens with fuel, there's no surcharge levied. The price is guaranteed.
And my next question would be that how much on an average time a student takes to complete his CPL rating within Skyborne for the DDC program only?
Yeah, the vast majority completed within the timeline. I mean, COVID obviously threw a huge spanner in the works and was not representative, but we are fully expectant that students will complete within the 12 months. No doubts at all.
Okay, thanks so much.
Hello everyone. I'm actually on the magazine. Sorry. I'm from Ranchi, Jharkhand. So my question is like recently I'm receiving mails from other FTOs to give an undertaking of which FTO to choose to perform. So I'm confused like if I have given at the commitment to one FTO, so can I like take back that and go with this Skyborne?
In case you are given an undertaking to an FTO and that FTO you're having and there is considerable delay, then for that reason you can change.
Yeah, because I'm not sure of the dates of that FTO, and as you said that this will start in May, so I will look forward to this.
So you can have a word with Reena after the seminar and she will give you a good timeline on this.
Oh, thank you.
You can.
Thank you. I have a couple of questions. One of them is regarding your FA, so do you intend to have some kind of tie with European regulators also so that the persons, if they are not interested in IndiGo or for the matter in India, can be absorbed in the European regulators or to other countries? And the second question is regarding how do you see also with the other competition from China and Philippines, because some of these students aspire to go over there because maybe because of pricing or maybe because of the regulations are much more easier and they can be much more easily trained and absorbed in some of these countries, for example in China. So these are my two questions. Thank you.
So three rather. Question number one. Unlike, so this is USA cadet program. So fortunately, you will have two licenses with you, an FAA CPL and an Indian CPL. There is no European, no EASA license. Let's say there was one. US and Europe, there are no jobs unless you have citizenship primarily. And this is primarily a program for Indian citizens. For your next question, again, Chinese airlines do not take Indian nationals. Flying in the Philippines, I would not entirely recommend that because in the past, a few flying clubs in the Philippines have been banned by DGCA India. So if you end up flying in a flying club that's been red listed by DGCA, your flying will not be counted, you will not be issued an Indian license, so you are waste. So please be very careful. This is where a structured cadet program comes into play, because this program is backed by the airline, which is us. It's regulated, all the permissions are in place, and all the requirements set by the regulator are in place. You don't have to worry about anything. Does that answer your question?
So, young man here has a question. We have a microphone.
Hello everyone, my name is Divyan Shautan. I wanted to ask Rajiv sir, is this IndiGo Cadet Pilot program can one only apply in May or in any time of the year?
It's open 24/7, 365. Programs open for registration. Selections approximately in May, but it's definitely open.
One question for you, sir. Sir, I'm a fresher. I just passed my class 12 in February. So I decided I want to become a pilot. But the thing is, I can only imagine how living life as a pilot would be. So sir, can you please tell how it is to be a pilot?
Well, of course I'm biased. I think it is quite literally the best job in the world. And I always reflect, when I've been flying for about 5 years, I think it was, I was sat at Heathrow Airport programming the flight management computer, and the captain said to me, "Why are you smiling?" And I didn't know I was. And I said, "Am I?" And he said, "Yes." Why? And I said, "Because I can't believe that tonight we're going to get off this aeroplane in Seattle and be in a completely different culture in a totally different part of the world." And that sums it up for me. I just think it's still to this day, at the tender age of 56, and I've been in this business for 30 years, it still excites me. And there's all the other bits and pieces, but that's just one example, you know, and I'm very, very passionate about the career.
Because for someone who's not looking for a 9 to 5, wants an office at 30,000 feet, it's very unique. It does not feel like work. A lot of work goes into it. We are trained, and we have to prove our mettle every 6 months, but it does not feel like a job.
And if I may, Rajiv, also, it's the moments that are not necessarily flying related, when there's an incident with a member of the public or a sick passenger, or there's maybe a significant delay, and these other skill sets kick in, and that's when you realise just really it's an operation. It's a huge operation, and I find that so exciting.
Also, this is one of those professions where, unlike others, you mature, you learn to think, you on your feet, you're quick with decision making, very, very fast. Those of you who join the cadet program, your parents would notice it, your siblings would notice it. From the time you leave for the cadet program, from the time you come back a different person. You'll be good with.
Good question, thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Manish Shah. Well, I have a bit of doubt regarding the date of application being considered in terms of upper age limit. Because back in 2021, I have applied, I filled in the form, and I submitted the documents in the month of February. So at that time, I was 31 years old. So I'm a little bit doubtful as whether it will cause any issue during this period. Because meanwhile, while the COVID program was going on, I completed my DGCA exams, I appeared for it, I maintained my class 1 medicals, did 2 renewals as well. So I have maintained as much as possible. I tried to do it, speed up the process in case the program gets resumed. So I'm a little bit doubtful whether I'll be given the opportunity or not.
At the time of application was when, 2019?
No sir, it was 2020. In 22 I submitted my documents and went through the pre-selection process of the Skyborne.
Which pre-selection process?
There was a Skyborne as far as I know.
Okay. So again, at the end of the Q&A, meet me and Reena. We just chalk it out.
Good evening, everyone. Everything was pretty much clear with the presentation, but I had a few questions. First is, what can we expect in the group discussion and the interview with IndiGo? How does it go, the group discussion?
So we take 6 candidates, we give them a problem. As a team, you have to solve it. It's time bound. We are looking at how you gel in a team. We are looking at how you function as an individual and your communication skills. Again, not airline level, but we like to see particular standard. This is pretty much it. It's very simplistic. If you still have a doubt, go on the net, have a look at how any MNC does a group task assessment, an SBI or an Axis Bank or any MNC for that matter, or an airline, they're pretty much the same.
So, and the timeline you gave, like starting in May, this election. So, is it for all the FTOs or just for Skyborne?
It is for all the FTOs.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just indulge myself for 1 second, just following that question about, why is it you like it? I think we've got 2 pilots here, Drew and Mecca. I'd like to get their take on it. They're current captain and first officer. Would you mind just giving your feelings? Yeah.
Regarding the job. So every day, we have a different schedule. It's not fixed. But the moment you see the views as you're flying, or maybe after the work, you are back. It's not a 9 to 5 job as such. So sometimes you're back home at 10 a.m. and people at home, they're going to work at 10 a.m. So you're done. You're free for the day. And sometimes you're going at night. So it's kind of very erratic, but once you get used to it, you will start loving it. That's how I think.
And we are given our schedule a month in advance. So around the last week of every month, we get our schedule for the whole month. We can plan our life, everything. So we know where all we would go and which day we do what, and it's a different city every time, and sometimes we have layovers. Southeast Asia, Middle East, we have some in Istanbul, and next year we're starting more of European cities. It gets quite interesting.
Plus, mostly the whole of India has been working with IndiGo, that's it. On the layovers.
First officers don't want to get away with it. So.
I think I relate to each one of you the most because I am newly joined first officer. I still remember the first time I wore this uniform, and it was so new to me, coming in front of my parents wearing this uniform. Now that I wear it every day, I think I don't realize, but I think I feel very lucky to be wearing it every day and going for work. And as Captain said, it doesn't feel like work anymore because you train so much. There's months and months gone into training. So now it doesn't feel like work anymore, but it's all worth it. Those months of trainings, and you're always studying, you can't ever stop learning. Every day you learn something new in the aircraft, you learn something new, situational based. So that is a very different thing that you get to experience in this kind of a job. So yeah.
I'd like to mention that she's new, so her training and learning profile is very steep. She's learning a lot, flying with a new captain every time and trainers, and she's getting used to the schedule. But if you notice, she can't help smiling. That's the job.
Hello ma'am, my name is Rohan Ram. I had two questions. The first one is, will we get stipend once we join the program? Because we are investing a lot of money, so that's my first question. And the second question is, I have been waiting for the cadet program, and some of us have been waiting for the cadet program for the past 2 years. We have started our process, we are done with our documentation. At least me, I'm done with my class 2 medicals, class 1 medicals. I'm done with most of my papers. I have one paper left. And since last year, multiple FQs, I have been in touch with multiple FQs, and they always tell me that the program will resume from next month. IndiGo is expecting to start from next month, but there seems to be no progress. Now Captain Raju said that we can expect the program to resume from May. So this is a very subjective question. Should I wait or should I go the conventional way? Like, is it really true? Because I've been waiting for quite some time now. So yeah.
May I just... Well, I would like to hope that you haven't heard from Skyborne that it's next month, because I've personally briefed my team not to say that, and I take so many inquiries myself on LinkedIn, and I've never said that. I've said, just hang in there, we're negotiating with the airline. I'm sure the airline, when they're ready, will make an announcement and keep watching the website. So we make that same statement all the time, but I personally think if you've got one paper to go and get it done. You've heard from Captain Rajiv. I think this is really going to happen.
Absolutely. Look, a bit of background to answer your first question. Stipends being discontinued. To answer your second question, yes, there has been a bit of delay. Post-COVID, we haven't started selections, but we have never formally announced a month and then backtracked. Why is there this delay to launch the selection process? The reason is the two industries that were hit the most by pandemic were the hotel industry and the airline industry. Irrespective of continuous quarter-on-quarter losses, we did not, as a policy, let go of any pilot. We continued to have all our pilots with us through the pandemic. And all those who were in our data bank, who had signed up with us, we kept them along too, and we kept our promise. As soon as the pandemic was over, we were back on growth track. We started hiring those. So we had to clear the backlog because we keep our promise. Now the backlog is clearing. We are again expanding. Growth is back on track. So we will be starting selections. Does that answer your question clearly?
So, but can we expect a month, like a date or a time, something like that?
Date or time in seconds? LFT, UTC? May.
Thank you, sir.
We have some provision of loan for this.
Unfortunately, our Indian banks mostly don't recognize career of commercial pilot license as an education sector to give a loan. But I have heard cases in the past where some public sector banks have considered it based on the letter of intent from IndiGo. They have considered it. So you may try as an individual. That's the best advice I can give you. state banks are the best option.
And in fact, to add to Captain Rajiv, we currently have some cadets who have tie-ups or they have secured loans based on the LOI from national banks. So that is an option, but as an individual, not the LOI is what really clicks for them.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akshay Gurung. My question is for Captain Push. Captain, I want to know in our multi-engine, what should one look for while deciding an FTO within IndiGo? Like, except the price point of view, what else, since we are a business, we will only go to one FTO while in the IndiGo process, while we are entering the cadet round. So, what are the aspects one should look for?
So to pick up your first point, we follow the Airbus guidelines. So if you notice on the slide, we have 25 hours, 15 on the aircraft, 10 in the simulator.
Yes, so that's primarily the DGCA profile. It will encompass the FAA profile. And next, we have 76 destinations in India that IndiGo flies to. So you're asking me to pick a destination?
I'm asking which FTO one should look for?
Same thing.
So
So take your numbers, put it with you, put all the data in it, see where it goes. You have to pick.
Something I say all the time to people in your position, research, research, research. You can't do too much research. You've got to find the FTO that fits for you, where you're going to perform to the best of your ability. Yeah, we can lay our stall out like I've done today and explain what we do. The other FTOs will do the same, and you just find the one that resonates for you. Yeah, that feels right.
Thank you.
Hello. So I just have one question. Considering the fact that hundreds of applicants will be applying to this program, is there an upper bound to the number of candidates will be accepted?
We've been hiring cadets every year. It's open now. Our hiring numbers are not, they're always variable. Because certain months we get more aircraft than usual, certain months because of backlog in parts, Airbus gives us deliveries a bit later. So it's a whole bag of variables. But the thing that you should concentrate on is that it's open, the growth is back on track, and we will continue to take future cadets.
Good afternoon, sir. I had a question regarding the personality assessment process. So is this review technical work or it is related to a personality or
The whole package. You have to convince us.
Thanks so much, sir.
I have one question. Is there any time obligation to
Yes, the whole program is time bound. And we expect that you will give in your best. And you're supposed to clear all your exams ideally in 3 to 4 months. But if not, we do give additional attempts to clear them.
Is there any issue around payment? Like, is it mandatory or in the presentation?
It's recommended, but remember, an airline pilot's profile, fitness. That's one. Number two, why we kept a recommendation is, in the past we have noticed that if the BMI is out of the WHO limit, the cadet has an issue with reaching or handling the controls of a trainer aircraft comfortably. We do not want that. So, whichever way you look, the recommendation is really an important one.
So, is there any issue?
get it is not in like
You could be roughly around it. We are not very set.
maybe 30 or 32. If I have to give medical class work,
You've cleared the class.
yeah.
You've cleared your UGCA class work, right? And have you received any recommendation from UGCA that you need to do training for your next medical?
Yes.
So that's answer your question. It's pretty much summarized the PMI recommendation, which Captain Rajiv is focusing on.
So just continue with that recommendation. Keep working on it. Apply, register yourself.
One question, how do you see as far as perception is that, that today's pilot technology, AI, etc., in aircraft, do not require that sort of manual, input, So what is your recommendation for that? Because it will be very important, as far as personal alertness skills are concerned. And they do not require that sort of, personal handling, because the technology is getting very advanced. So their cognitive skills are not going to be that much required. So what is your input, that you can give to the training?
Well, look, I learned on an aeroplane 757, which is 40 odd years old with technology. But I think if you went on an A350 or a 380 tomorrow, to some extent the skill sets are exactly the same. Those behaviors, those traits are key. And so if you've got the cognitive ability, you can probably turn your hand to any technology. But it's the other behaviors around it which is so important that I think it describes your professionalism. The ability to stay calm under pressure, to make logical decisions, safe decisions, have the right attitude and remain motivated at all times. They're really the key points.
And lastly, with this career, you will always stay abreast with the latest technology, research, and also training. So the airline continuously in parallel trains you. If there's more AI, you'll be trained accordingly.
Okay. Do we have one more at the back, perhaps?
So, I have two questions. First, do we need an external coaching for the selection process? And the second one being, is the RTR exam included in the ground school?
I think really you don't need an external coaching here.
Okay, sir.
Yeah, it's fairly simple, straightforward.
Okay,
The next question is,
Yes, so the PGCA ground classes comes with full package. Right, if you go with Skyworks online program, then Lee and Reena will guide you with all the necessary regulatory papers before you start your flight training. That also includes an RTR paper. Right, so it's a complete package like Lee mentioned.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Yeah, and also in future if Lee and Skyborne decides to use the Canadian route to get an RTR, so you also have that group options available in future.
And can I just pick up your question about selection? There is a difference between coaching and preparation. So be prepared. There's plenty of material on the website about the aptitude tests, and you can practice really get your speed of thought up. You can work on those kind of things, but think about the interview. Think about what the airline will be looking from you and be prepared. But I personally don't back coaching because I think the risk with coaching is that you're teaching somebody to pass a process and actually masking potentially weaknesses which will then show themselves in flight training, and nobody wants that. So prepare there by all means.
There is somebody here.
Hi sir, what will happen if someone get unfit during the program?
Sorry.
What will happen if someone get unfit during the cadet part program?
So we will assist you in getting you back your fitness.
So is there any time limit to get completely fit? Like if the medication is long enough, like 6 months?
So we usually give a 6 months period for you to get your fitness back, which is more than enough. What we have seen in the cadet program in the past is, look, this is a structured program. We set you up for success, which means you'll have your ground papers passed, you'll have your class 1 medical, and then you will proceed to flight training. So you're already set. During that time, so you initially did pass your class 1, so you were alright. If you develop something, we'll give you time up to 6 months to get back your fitness, and then you are on your way again. You can resume your flight training. And I have not really seen anyone in that program, so left out after clearing class 1.
No, I mean, from time to time people get sick and they maybe miss a flight or two, no problem. We just rearrange the flights. If it's more prolonged than that and they need some refresher training, generally we will do that and the student doesn't need to worry about it. And I can think possibly of 2 occasions out of the 170 or so pilots we trained, 150, where they've been repatriated back to home because of something of a longer situation. And both of those instances they returned back to training. You can't cover every eventuality.
We'll allow another 2-3 questions.
Components of what the program is.
It's an on-the-roll process. Once it starts, then we are rolling up aptitude testing, and whoever clears that goes to GTA and an interview. It's a roll. Usually, one roll would take approximately 5 to 6 weeks. Usually. Thanks a lot.
Skyborne, we will commit to clearing an application within 48 hours. So from the point of application to checking it against the baseline criteria within 48 hours. And then of course the links are then sent to the various tests, and I guess that's how quickly you complete it. And then we will commit to get our side of things done very, very quickly. And then of course it's over to the airline.
Any questions? 1 or 2 more?
Hello everyone. Can you give a bit of the current batch of the students, like on what stage are they? The current cadets at Skyborne or at any other FAQ in IndiGo?
So at Skyborne right now, we literally have just 4 or 5 cadets on their multi-engine training. In Vero Beach, the others are at various stages in flight license and type rating training, and in the airline.
In fact, Captain Lee started off with the fact that we are having a graduation ceremony tomorrow. We have 77 people out of a batch of 123 who are eligible to graduate tomorrow, which means they are essentially done with their type rating. Anybody else? Well, we'll be around. The last question.
Hello everyone, my name is Sarfadhan. My question is to both Lee sir and Rajiv sir. Does Skyborne or IndiGo provide any kind of scholarship?
Skyborne does not provide a scholarship as things stand at the moment.
Same with IndiGo as of now. There is no issue.
So maybe in future we
I don't think we could expect it. It's a personal aspiration of mine to bring in all sorts of concepts around sponsorship and funding solutions and what have you, but it's a huge subject. One day maybe, but it's not on the cards at the moment. Okay.
Well, thank you, Captain Lee, Captain Rajiv, Richard, Munis, Captain Dhruv, Dr. Samena, thank you so much. Thank you for turning up, asking some wonderful questions. I hope you go back with some great insights. We'll be outside for some time. Please enjoy a cup of coffee or tea outside, and let's interact outside, and thank you again. And we hope to see you with Skyborne IndiGo Cadet Pilot Program pretty soon. Thank you again.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.